Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Cranky Motorsports. I'm out here in the garage right now and I'm getting ready for 2025 Pennsylvania Plow Day. That's right, I'm going again this year. I'm gonna go have some fun with all my buddies. This year I'm not taking my family because of school and stuff like that. My kids got a lot of stuff going on, but I am working on fixing up a few of the tractors out here. I did some work last week on the mighty Mongrel, which is way down here in the garage right now, one of those down there. I swapped the transmission out of one of my parts tractors, which is a 68 Suburban 12 that I've just been sitting on for a couple of years. I needed to swap the transmission because the posi that was in the mighty Mongrel was leaking horribly, and I wanted to put an open diff back in that tractor just because I know the transmission I had in it was a little bit thrashed, and believe it or not, posis kind of stink in small tractors because they push the steering to the side. So anyway, pulled the transmission out of that, swapped it over. I'm going to throw that footage in here in a little bit, and then I'm going to do some more part swapping on some of my other tractors because I have a bunch of stuff for sale. I have a buddy that wants to buy the 6-horse diesel out of the 68 that I did last summer, this guy right here. And so I need to pull the motor out of that, and actually the motor that was in the other 68 that I pulled the transmission out of for the mighty Mongrel is going to go in that guy. And I think I'm actually going to keep that 68 because that was a one-owner tractor, and it's, even though it's rusty, it's in pretty good condition. So I kind of want to keep that one mostly original, so that one's going to get a 12-horse Tecumseh again. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to start working on. Stay tuned.
Coated hands in the moonlight's glow, rust in the veins where the oil does flow. Wrenches scream loud like a midnight howl, fixing dead beast in his sacred prowl. Cranky's in the garage Southern pride. Engines coughing like they wanna die, smoke in his lungs but he won't say goodbye. Exhaust clouds thick, painting skies so black, bringing life to junk left on the track.
I got the Mongrel outside. I did swap the rear end. You can tell because it's orange now. I didn't repaint the whole axle. I only swapped over the hitch plate and stuff like that. What I got going on now is it wouldn't stay running on gasoline. I had to use starting fluid or carb cleaner to keep it running. So what I think happened was the little diaphragm inside the pump got dried out and it wasn't allowing it to go back and forth on the pulse of the engine. So I did just pull that off, put a little bit of oil on it to get it to soften up, cleaned everything out, put it back together, and it appears that it's working now because I cranked the engine over 3 or 4 times and I did see some fuel come into the filter, although it drained back now, but it did pull some in. So what I should have is the carburetor pumping gas. although the battery on the tractor is a little bit dead, so I have to grab the GT18, throw the jumper cables on this thing so I can see if it's now pumping fuel. So right now, what should happen when I crank it over, you should see gas come out of that little rectangle hole if everything's working properly. Be there any second. There it goes. All right. So I got fuel. Now that means once I put the top of the carburetor back on, as long as my float drops like it should, I'll get fuel into the carburetor and this thing should start and run. So let's put that back together. All right, now that the carb top is back on, it should hopefully fire up pretty quickly. I do need to get carb back into the bowl. I didn't put any in. Well, maybe I'll give it a little sniff of Grandpa's cough medicine here. That should fire it up. Well, it is running, but it doesn't seem like it's pumping fuel. So let me pull the top of that carb back off and see if there's fuel in the bowl. So the bowl is full of fuel, so now it's just not pulling it through the carburetor quick enough. I'm gonna let the battery charge up a little bit, put the top of the carburetor back on, and then try cranking it again. There you have it, once again, running pretty good. Just the carburetor a little bit, but put all the wheel weights back on it, do a little cleanup because it's been sitting. I had mice got up here and made a mess of the air cleaner and stuff. Might do an oil change on it, but I think I only have like 3 hours of run time, so I don't think it really needs an oil change. But man, I love this tractor. Charging system works. I gotta put the battery hold down back on. Man, I love this thing. Oh, idle's a little bit low. I haven't really run it in like 2 years, so there's a good chance that one of the plugs might be a little bit foul too, but in general, it runs pretty good.
Engines coughing like they wanna die. Smoke in his lungs, but he won't say goodbye. Exhaust clouds thick, painting skies so black, bringing life to junk left on the track. Frankie's in the garage under neon haze.
I'm doing a little bit of an update video for PA Plow Day and just to update some stuff that I've sold. So as you saw in my video with the Massey Ferguson, I did sell my black front end loader. I just sold my rake. I sold one of my trailers, and I sold a rolling chassis that I had as well. So I've been selling a bunch of stuff. I still have my white front end loader that's on the SS15 tractor. And the diesel that I was selling that I redid last year, that 68, I sold the diesel engine out of that tractor and I kept the tractor. So let's take a walk through what I got left. And I'm also going to do a quick update on what I'm bringing to Plow Day this year. So inside the stable, I've been moving stuff around because I want to fit my Massey Ferguson in here. I have a 42-inch mower deck in the back here that came with that SS15 I bought. That's for sale. No rot holes or anything. Comes with a second set of blades. The blades are a little bit worn, but they're still good enough for mowing. So that's up for sale. I have my all original 69 Suburban 12 still. I have the CB Special still, obviously. This SS15 I sold. This is going to Pennsylvania Plow Day with me. I got to bring it down. I'm not using it. I'm bringing it down, and the guy that bought it actually wants to do a little carburetor tinkering on it and is planning on using it to plow. The 679, which I normally take to Plow Day. This year it's not coming, only because I have an issue with the clutch. I have to put like a bigger idler pulley or a shorter belt on it. I can't get full clutch engagement, and the motor, the throttle cable needs a little bit of help, so I got to work on that. So this is the 68 that I had these. It was actually a 6-horse diesel, not a 7-horse, but I had the diesel engine in this. That's the one I did last year. I was planning on selling the whole tractor. A buddy of mine wanted just the motor, so I sold him the motor. I'm keeping the tractor, and I stuck actually the motor that I redid a head gasket and a bunch of other stuff on. That's in the chassis now. So this one's going to get converted back to a Tecumseh. But realistically, what's probably most exciting in this video is I think this year I'm going to bring the mighty Mongrel III with me. I got that one running earlier in this video that you saw. And then also I think I'm going to bring the D10S because that's my typical go-to for Plow Day. Although if I don't end up bringing that one, I thought about throwing some ags on the GT18 and taking this one, but I haven't quite decided yet. I could also take one of my ST12s if I wanted to, because they got ags on them. But what I'm going to finish up doing now, I gotta sell this loader too. I think I got it sold to a buddy of mine, giving him kind of a good deal on it, just as a I need to sell it type thing. I'm using the money now that I have my tractor, my bigger tractor. I'm using the rest of that money from selling this stuff to pay off some bills that I've made over the past couple of years. Foolishly, I know better, but you know, every once in a while you want something, you don't want to wait for it, so you end up paying for it in the long term. So I will take a little bit of a video here just to show the difference between the Sears loader and the Massey Ferguson, so you guys can kind of see the difference. Well, as you can see, the Massey Ferguson fits perfectly in my garage too. I know this now turned into kind of a random collection of videos, but got the Massey in the garage. It still needs a few things. It spits a little bit of antifreeze when it gets hot out the radiator, because maybe the radiator cap is bad, and it doesn't really overheat, but it doesn't have an overflow tank either. And I was able to stuff my Sears loader next to it in the garage, and the 76 ST12 behind it, and then everything else still fits in here. So the nice thing is, after selling my one loader tractor and selling the rolling chassis and selling the rake and a couple other things, I've been able to clear out a lot of room in here. So now I can still fit all my tractors and stuff and my big one, which is the best, because I do not want to leave the Massey Ferguson outside anymore. It's been outside quite a bit in its life, you can tell. That's why it's so rusty, but it's solid. It's just surface rust. But I don't want to leave it outside anymore, so that's going to close out this video. Kind of a combination of what I'm doing for Plow Day and an update on the Massey Ferguson again. I did buy a new battery for this, a smaller marine battery that I'm going to put in this guy, so I can take my other battery and put it back in my Bel Air. And I do need to change the oil, because this does seem to have quite a bit of blow-by. There is a distinct chance that it has blow-by, because somebody might have put like 5W30 oil in this thing or something, which it will definitely burn and blow a lot of oil out if you use 530. So hopefully tomorrow I'll get out here and swap the rear tires around so they're outboard a little bit more and do an oil change on it. Now that it's in the garage, I can work on it even if it's raining, so that's a benefit. And I took the weight box off to put it in the garage, so I have the weight box and the forks over there on the ground. One of the turnbuckles on the 3-point hitch is also kind of stuck, so I got to clean that up and get it working again. But yep, now the Massey's in the garage with the rest of the Sears tractors, and I think they're all happy. I mean, they don't have feelings and stuff, but I think they're all happy. We all know that tractors have feelings. Ferguson looks a little bit sad. Has the original headlights in it, and they do work, but they're really dim. I'm not sure if they're like a 4411 sealed or if they have a different type of bulb in them, but they're really dim. So even though those are working, I'll probably put some other lights on it somewhere. I'm not sure if I'll put some, you know, like on the sides of the hood over here, although I really hate to drill into this hood because it's in pretty good shape. But I got to put more lights on it. It's just not enough. When I'm out working by the road in the snow and stuff like that, I need to have enough light to be able to see what I'm doing. The other thing I noticed too, and again, now I'm rambling, but the leveling rod for the bucket, there's supposed to be a rod that connects up to, I think, the top of the bucket and comes through this tube. And when it's level with the top of this pipe, it means the bucket's level. And when it goes up, it means the bucket is tipped back or tipped forward. And when it goes down, it means the bucket is tipped back. So got to work on that too. But anyway, ending out this video. It's been a crazy one. Ups and downs and lots of backs and forths. So that's going to do it for this edition of Cranky Motorsports. Just a bunch of random footage all slapped together. Stuff that I'm working on for Plow Day. And, you know, swapping parts and selling stuff and buying stuff. And good night, tractors. I got to go cook dinner. I'm hungry. See ya.